Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's great to see you. It always is. I hope you're doing well. Round of 16 over in the Shanghai Masters. We got four of the best for us to touch on today. Shouldn't take that much of our time. Make sure you get your comments in with your predictions. Anything that I'm going for today will be in that pinned comment. You are more than welcome to take a look at that. You take it if you want. Leave it if you must. It is entirely up to you. The choice is yours. But do like the video if you'd be so kind. Get yourself subscribed to the channel if you're not already. We are on the road to 3k, so get yourself involved. It would be an honour to welcome you to the squad. We continue to grow each and every day. But very well, nothing to recap unless you've been getting lucky over the past 2 days. Please do let me know. Have you won? Have you lost? Have you just come close? Most importantly, have you been enjoying the matches? But we'll waste no more time with it. Let's get right into business. Let's get it on. Gabe Diallo, he's taking on Bergs. Should be a decent game. Should be a rather interesting match. This tends to be an exciting matchup when we get it. If I'm being honest, we've seen this 3 times before. Head to head is 3-0 to Gabe Diallo, that's right. First time was in the Vancouver Challenger 2022, hard court, 3 sets. And then most recently, we've seen this played twice this year. Over in Madrid, 6-1, 6-2. For Diallo, obviously, and then most recently was in Den Bosch on the grass in the final, 7-5, and then a very, very close tiebreak in the second, wrapped the title up for the Canadian. Now, we mentioned this, I can't remember when, but it was fairly recently. It may have been in the first round for the Bonzi match. Did we see Gabe Diallo play that good prior to Den Bosch? Probably not. Has he managed to replicate it since coming off of the grass, come back to the hardcore? Probably not. Probably not. I hate to use the phrase flash in the pan, but it most definitely feels like it. I don't think it was. You know, we've seen enough from Gabe Diallo this season. He's 35 in the world now. Same for Bergs, 44. Pair of them have been fairly decent. 17 and 14 on the hardcore for the Canadian. 19 and 14 for Bergs. You know, both of them like the hardcourt. They do tend to do the majority of the damage on the quicker surfaces. Now, touching back on what I've just said about Diallo and Den Bosch, I suppose the same could be said for Bergs. You know, he's shown glimpses prior to the grass, but I think that was probably his best showing so far this season. I mean, don't quote me on it, but he was the run to the title over in Auckland, very start of the season. Ended up getting beat by Gael Monfils. He had to qualify for that as well. You know how times change. But yeah, never really managed to do anything ever since Auckland. Went over to Den Bosch, got to the final. Bergs played really good over there too. Gabe Diallo just a little bit better than him on the day for the week. Now Bergs had played an extra game compared to Gabe Diallo, so we've seen pretty much everyone start dropping like flies this week with the fatigue and what have you. It probably shouldn't make that much of a difference, but in these conditions, you know, the extra game, the extra court time may accumulate, and you never really know when it's going to happen. You just got to keep it in mind for the rest of these matches. You know, some of these players, they look good. You've probably watched a few of them look good, look fantastic, and then it just hits them all of a sudden. Something just turns up and smacks them right in the face, and it's the fatigue, it's the humidity, it's the heat. I don't know how anyone plays in those conditions. I really don't. My hat goes off to them. So maybe it's just food for thought on that one. I don't necessarily think Gabe Diallo's looked any better statistically. I think he's saved better. He has pretty much been saving a lot better than Bergs. I don't want to say Diallo's very reliant on the first serve, but it kind of feels like that's where the majority of the damage, the most of the work's being done on the first serve. Now it's always a concern. Always a concern. You watch someone get by, pretty much cruise by Benjamin Bonzi. Had no trouble with Benjamin Bonzi. Played 3 games against David Goffin, so he's obviously going to be more rested than Bergs. But at the same time, that can go in your favour. At the same time, does that kind of knock you out of stride a bit? Bergs, he has had more court time, but he's still within a rhythm. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think, like I said, statistically, he probably has. Maybe not by much, but on the eye, I don't think Gabe Diallo has looked that much better than Bergs that week. Maybe there's not that much to split them. Like I said, they played each other in that final in Den Bosch, and they weren't much to split them then. It was the finest of margins Both of them were banging form. I don't want to say too much, but we may or may not, but let's just say we've got prime Bergs and prime Diallo over in the Shanghai Masters. I imagine it's just going to be a close one again. I really do. Zizou Bergs has been a dog in all three of these games. Sebastian Korda stood no chance. Casper Ruud, it is what it is, innit? Some of these, I don't know how much weight some of these previous wins hold, because you don't really know how long they were injured for in the match. Like I said before, it's kind of difficult to tell. Some of them look fine, and then all of a sudden they don't. But he got past Casper Ruud. You try telling Zizou Bergs a win against Casper Ruud doesn't really mean anything, I dare you. But then most importantly, the match against Sarundalo, straight sets. I say it was easy work, it was anything but easy, but I was never really in doubt that Zizou Bergs was going to get that done. We kind of missed that the other day. I was busy with some shit, but Zizou Bergs being a dog in that made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. With that being said, I'm seeing Gabe Diallo around 1.5. I've got this feeling, like when I looked at it at first glance, I probably would give the slightest of leans towards Diallo on the surfaces. When he turns up and when he plays like this, he's too big and he's too strong. You can't do much against Big Gabe in these quick conditions. Although they ain't the quickest exactly, but you know what I mean. I think Zizou Bergs might be good for the set in this one. I don't know. He's never done anything against Gabe Diallo in the past. And even twice this year as well. The first one on the clay was an absolute beatdown. And then the one on the grass, I know it ain't the hard court, but quicker conditions, fine margins, did go the way of the Canadian. It may just come down to whose serve just sort of shits it first, Who's gonna shit it on the serve, who's just gonna falter, who's will dip just a little bit. I don't know. It's Diallo, but it's tough, man, because what I've seen from him, he's looked unstoppable, he really has, but a straight set win against Bonzi, and then a 3-game retirement after David Goffin, that's nothing to go off, really. That's not much to go off. I would have to say the wins against Korda, Casper Ruud and Sarundalo probably hold a little bit, if not a hell of a lot more weight than that of Gabe Diallo, if I'm being honest with you. Zizou Bergs 2.4, 2.5, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Going off what we seen last time and the quick conditions, I would give the slightest of leans towards Gabe Diallo. But I'm not picking that 100%. I do believe this could be a lot closer than what those odds are currently suggesting. What do you reckon the odds were on this last time they played over in Den Bosch? Identical. What are the odds? Odds are identical, 1.5 for the Canadian. Anyone taking Diallo? Any takers on that? Please do let me know. Probably wouldn't mind the first set over. Think about the first set over 9.5 games. Have a look what you can get for that. It is just food for thought. But we shall move on. Here's Mpetshi Perricard. He's going to be taking on Holger Rune. Should be an interesting game. We've seen this twice before, fairly recently as well. Head to head is one apiece. Gio got it done, straight sets, Swiss indoors towards the end of last season. And then most recently Holger Rune, a couple months ago, Toronto Masters in straight sets. Now both of these results have been identical. It really does. They kind of tell a tale within themselves. Semi-final, Swiss indoors, tie-break in the first, 2 Gio, and then a 6-4 in the second. Easy work. And then in Toronto, we had pretty much the same from Holger Rune. Tie-break in the first, and then a 6-3 in the second. So it's a very hard-fought first set, and whoever loses that first set kind of gives in the second. That seems to be the case with these two, or that tends to have been the case in the previous two matches anyway. Doesn't necessarily mean the same thing is going to happen in this one. I would like to say I trust Holger Rune in this a lot more than Gio. I suppose I do. As a whole, as a player on the season, I kind of do trust Holger Rune a bit more than Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard, although, don't take that lightly. Take that lightly. I'm not saying that with a lot of conviction at all. 19 wins, 9 losses on the surface for Holger Rune, 12-12 for Big Gio. Now, we've said pretty much every week, every time we've had to talk about Mpetshi Perricard, this season's been a bit below par. Just a little bit below par compared to what I expected anyway. I don't really know what I expected, but we know how good this guy can be. This guy can be unstoppable when he decides to, or when the court suits him. This guy's unstoppable. There's not a lot you can do about it. So to see him with 12 wins, 12 losses, that is it's a bit disappointing to say the least. I imagine he'd be the first to admit that. 20 wins, 21, like I say, that's not much to write home about. Not much at all. Doesn't fill me full of confidence coming into this one against Holger Rune, 33 and 21. He is essentially a top 10 player now, sitting at 11th in the world, unless my rankings are yet to update. But I'm seeing Holger Rune around 1.4, 1.44. And I do think Holger Rune's been playing really well so far in the Shanghai Masters. I really do. And he did beat him last time, most recently as well, over in Toronto. But like I say, going off them results, there's super fine margins. I remember watching the game. There's never a break in this. You've pretty much got to accept a tie break with Gio, more or less straight off the bat. When you face this guy, you can't break him. You can't break him. And when his serves firing, there's not a lot you can do. I don't care who you are. There is not a lot you can do against Gio in these quicker conditions. I mean, just look at Taylor Fritz. Now, people say what they want about that match. I will admit, I must say, I thought Taylor Fritz, he looked like he was on his arse against Fabian Madison prior to that matchup. He really did. But he ended up beating Fabian Madison somehow, some way. And that was probably his downfall. It was probably the worst thing you could have done, was go to war with Fabian Madison, then have to play Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard, because in hindsight he stood no chance. He stood no chance. Maybe it was that fatigue. Maybe it all just accumulated. It all come crumbling down for Taylor Fritz. It's all right. He's put in one hell of a shift this season. He's allowed a loss. I'll give him that. No shame in that whatsoever. But Holger Rune, I mean, the win against Sebastian Baez, routine. The game against Hugo Humbert, it could have been different. We do live in a world where Hugo Humbert could have turned up and upset the apple cart. You know, he could have posed a bit more of a threat. But the fact is, Hugo Humbert's never beaten Holger Rune. He's never really come close, and maybe he just never will. Maybe it's just one of them matchups, you know. Is that 5-0 for that head-to-head now, is it? Something like that. 6-0, rather. There you go. Head-to-head, 6-0 to Holger Rune against Hugo Humbert. So I'm not going to kiss his ass that much for getting past Sebastian Baez and the bang out of form Hugo Humbert. He has won 2 games. We are in to the 3rd match, so that's the round of 16 now. And you know what I always say? I start getting very worried, very concerned about Holger Rune when we get this far into the tournament. I really do. He's played good. I don't think he's played any better than Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard, Luca Nardi. Straight sets, Taylor Fritz, straight sets. Like I said, you can say what you want about the win against Taylor Fritz, but you go and tell Gio that a win against this current version of Taylor Fritz isn't really good. You won't be able to. I imagine he'll have bags of confidence coming into this one against Holger Rune. And hey, look, I mean, ignoring the price for a moment, if Gio does what he does and Holger Rune cannot break him, then he breaks himself, surely. Surely he breaks himself. I don't know. Like I said at the start, it's very difficult for me to go into this one trusting Giovanni Mpetshi Perricard a lot more than, let's say, a Holger Rune. I had a couple of stats for this one. Pretty much all of them were unders as well. It was me sheet's not coming up, bastard. I did have it typed up. I don't know where it's gone. You can go and check for yourself. It was all pretty much looking towards unders, though. It was the majority of the Holger Rune games, they've all went under 23.5. The under 13.5 games won have come in under 2.5 sets for Holger Rune more often than that. I mean, yeah, it definitely was. I'm just looking at the last 10 here. Apart from the game against Struff, and well, we take away the Grand Slams, only one of them went over 2.5 sets. And that was against Pedro Martinez in the Davis Cup. So it's just food for thought. We could be in for an under, maybe a tiebreak, maybe a 6-3. I wish I knew how the tiebreak was going to fall, providing we got one who was going to save the next match, the next set, rather. Could be in for one of them. We could be in for more of the same. Very tightly contested first set. Whoever loses that first set just kind of gives it and goes, you know what, fuck it. Kind of give all that it got in that first set, trying to do that tiebreaker. It's alright. Who do you expect to win? That is my question to you. Who do you expect to win this? I don't think there's a clear-cut winner. I suppose it reduces me to this. I suppose I don't agree with 1.44 for Holger Rune, although he's looked good. Has he looked any better than Gio? Like, on the eye, he looks a lot more better and a lot more fluid on the court. I get that. But if Mpetshi Perricard's just going to turn up and just save bombs at this guy and just do what he does, he is just going to put the power on you, put the pace on you. You may see Holger Rune struggle. For the most part, he struggles at this point in tournaments anyway, whether it's a mental thing or whether, I don't know what it is exactly, but I say it all the time. We're 2 wins in, and we're on to that third match with Holger Rune, and I start getting very worried. Very, very worried, especially at 1.44. I would be very, very careful with taking Holger Rune today, folks. I've got a weird feeling Gio could just sneak this one. It's fine margins. It's the finest of margins, it really is. And when we're dealing with the finest of margins, 1.44, 1.45, that doesn't really do it for me. That doesn't really reflect how fine the margins could possibly be on this one. So, for that matter, I would probably lean with Giovanni and Mpetshi Perricard taking a set. Maybe look at him on the spread, maybe even just look at him on the money line. You're nearly getting him as a 2-1 dog, more or less. Call it 2.7 for the Frenchman. I'm torn. I'm really torn. Because at first glance, I feel like I'm not being told, but I'm being forced to lean with Holger Rune. And I don't like it. I'm just going to stick with my gut and we'll see what happens. So I would lean towards Big Gio just smoking him out in that one. So the next one is Munar and Djokovic. It'd have to be Djokovic. You don't need me to tell you. Djokovic still should be winning this match. Look, these games are getting close for Djokovic. They really are. He's still winning, but they're getting really close. He's not covering his spreads over in Shanghai. That's what I've noticed so far. The game against Marin Cilic at tiebreak and at 6-4, it was decent, but it was close. Considering, how big of a favourite he is coming into these matches as well, I suppose it does stand for something at the end of the day. And then I watched him play Yannick Hanfmann, and Djokovic was struggling. He was struggling against Yannick Hanfmann. Yannick Hanfmann turned up and he served really well. Took that first set, and then midway through that second set, it just dipped, and it all come spiralling. It began to spiral, it all come tumbling down for Yannick Hanfmann. Not a lot you can do. Once Djokovic smells blood in the water, he's got you. It is what it is. But it was a decent hustle from the German, it really was. 6-4 in the first, ended up losing the second, 7-5, and then a 6-3 in the third. Djokovic all the while was just vomiting in the fucking bushes, just spewing all over the court. He didn't hold up too great. Like I said before, they're all just dropping like flies. The humidity, whether it's just the season, we've seen a few of them over the summer, just so let's go, you know what, fuck this, I'm done, just, ring me up, I can't do this anymore, I've been playing for months. And if it hasn't got to them by now, you've seen it over in Asia, you've seen it definitely over in Shanghai, some of them have got nothing left to give. And I don't blame them, it's such a long season, innit? It's such a long season. I know you don't have to play every game, but if you want to be one of the best, you kind of have to put yourself in that situation where you're playing like 50 plus games a season. It's fucking crazy. But that's neither here nor there. Djokovic will still have enough left to get past Munar, although going 3 sets with Yannick Hanfmann is probably not ideal. At this point. It's probably not what you'd want. Coming into this matchup, Munar probably shouldn't really be doing much damage against Djokovic, even in his current state, if I'm being honest with you. Improvements made or what have you, and he has made a hell of a lot of improvements. He really has. He's been decent in Shanghai as well. Martin Fucsovics in 3 pulled off the comeback against Fucsovics. Just dusted Flavio Caboli, made him look like an idiot. And then the game against Nishioka, that's right. That was another 3 sets. But the worst thing you can do is try and beat Munar in these games, because he just comes back 10 times stronger. Whenever he drops a set, he just comes back all pissed off and he puts one on you in the next set. Doesn't get tired. Does not get tired. With all that I've said, I couldn't talk it off taking Munar on the spread on this one. It feels weird. It feels wrong. It feels like utter blasphemy. Straight heresy saying that he could keep this close against Djokovic, but it's just how I feel. Marin Cilic covered his spread. Yannick Hanfmann covered his spread. I believe Munar is playing just as efficient, if not better, than those 2 opponents, hence why he's still in the tournament. I do believe he could keep it close. Shanghai Masters 2025, this version of Djokovic, he ain't no spring chicken anymore. He ain't. I don't think Munar's going to be able to hit through Djokovic per se, but he's tricky. He's tricky. And more often than not, when we see Jamie Munar get a grip of these matches, it's because he doesn't go away. He never goes away. He refuses to roll over and die. And I doubt he's going to do it for Djokovic in this one. And, if Djokovic turns up and he's visibly hampered, if he looks a bit worse for wear, I imagine Jamie Munar will sense that. I imagine that'll give you a bit of a kick up the arse. Who knows? He might give us a bit of a fright. If you take Djokovic to win that one today, I don't know why you would. It's 1.15, but I don't know. I'm kind of looking at Munar on the spread. I ain't gonna say it with a lot of conviction because, to be honest, it's still Djokovic, innit? It's still Djokovic. I'm saying it loosely, but I doubt things are gonna get any easier. I doubt it's gonna get any easier for Djokovic, as far as dealing with the court conditions, dealing with the heat and what have you, and the fitness. And Jamie Munar does seem to have bags and bags of fitness nowadays. And it seems more often than not, your fitness is half the battle. It's 50% of the match, innit? Just being able to get through it. I don't know. Say he's on a 3-game winning streak. He's been playing decent enough this season on the hard court. Obviously, probably nowhere near that level of a Djokovic. The only thing that's concerning me in this is who's left. Who is left in this draw to threaten Djokovic in the title? Medvedev, Munar, Felix, Diallo, Holger Rune. I don't know. You let me know in the comments because I'm looking at the draw. I'm looking at who's left, and if I didn't know any better, I'd say we could be in for the Shanghai Masters title for Djokovic here at the end of the week. I don't know. I don't want to speak too soon. Would I be surprised if he got it? Probably not. Probably not. Is he the favourite to win it? Possibly. It's got to be him, Medvedev, or the Demon. I don't know. We won't waste any more time on it. But I do believe Djokovic wins that match. The price, 1.15, you can't do anything with that. Djokovic to win. Maybe Jamie Munar on the spread. Maybe lean towards an over. Maybe have a little sprinkle on the over. But then again, I wouldn't be that surprised if Munar turns up and he's just got no weapons to deal with Djokovic whatsoever. So, like I said, I'd be very careful about approaching some of these games today. Even this one. So we'll move on. Right, so the last one is going to be Vacherot. He's taking on Griekspoor. It's interesting. It's an interesting game. I mean, how good has Vacherot been over in Shanghai? I'd say he's kind of flown under the radar just a little bit. He did have to come through qualifying, and he just about got through qualifying too. Nishesh Bassafareddy, Liam Draxel. Coming into the main draw, he has looked a lot more promising. Laslo Djere, Alexander Bublik, and then that game against Thomas Mahac. I'm not going to read into that game against Thomas Mahac because I don't believe Thomas Mahac should have been there. He shouldn't have been at Shanghai. I mean, what did he do? What did he do against Vacherot? Absolutely nothing. To be fair, he got bageled in the first set, and then it was a 3-1. And then Thomas Mahac does exactly what Thomas Mahac does all the time. He ended up pulling out. So if anyone had any cash on Mahac, he always saves you. It's alright. It's kind of a free hit more often than not with that guy. Fair play to Thomas Mahac, but even more fair play to Vacherot because he turned up and just fucking slaughtered them, didn't he? Same with Alexander Bublik, dropped that first set, come back and just pummeled him. I don't want to say it, but it kind of feels like Bublik's, we've got to the end of the season. I don't want to say Bublik knows that he's not getting to the finals anymore, but it seems like ever since winning that title in Hangzhou, he got beat by Munar, the uninspired match, and then turned up to Shanghai. Back-to-back first round exits. Well, it was the second round in Shanghai, but back-to-back exits over in the tournaments. Well, the first matches as well. Munar, straight set, and then winning the first one, and then dropping the second and third to Vacherot. I don't know whether Bublik's just kind of reined it in a bit now. He's kind of just checked out a little bit. But I'd like to think not, but there's an argument that could be made. The win against Laslo Djere doesn't really mean that much to me at this point in the season. Telling Griekspoor, man, this guy's impossible. He's winning again, so I'm happy about that. I did say, didn't I? I was literally saying after that Mpetshi game, it may have been for the Jensen Brooksby match. There'll come a time, it's sooner than later, it was coming. We knew it was coming from telling Griekspoor, and he managed to get himself a win. Not only that, he took out Jensen Brooksby. Anyone watch that match? 3 breadsticks, was that 6-1, 6-1 and 6-1? Imagine it going 3 sets and you still don't cash the over. Eh? I remember thinking that on that match. That was crazy. Am I surprised we got that sort of performance from the pair of them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't think I've seen anything like that, at least for quite some time. 3-6-1s in a row. It's a funny old game, innit? It's a funny old game. But most importantly, the match against Yannick Sinner. Now Yannick Sinner had to pull out. He had to pull out. Could we pinpoint the time in that match where it all just started going south? Where it started to just sort of weigh on Yannick Sinner, when it got to the point where he had to pull out? Because, for the most part, I think Talon Griekspoor turned up and he played solid, man. He played really, really solid against Yannick Sinner. Now, maybe Yannick Sinner was struggling from the get-go. Maybe he weren't. But, Talon Griekspoor was doing so good. He was doing so well in that match, considering we've seen fuck all from him since, was that Bastad, was it? Since we were in Bastad, over in Sweden. Yeah, he's done nothing since we've come back to the hard court. Those 2 wins. Maybe not so much the one against Jensen Brooksby, but the one against Yannick Sinner, retirement or not. Just the performance was very unforeseen, I will give him that. Fair play, is he back to winning ways? Is he back to winning ways? Because if he is back to winning ways, I'll be honest with you folks, I'd be taking him against Valentin Vacherot. I would have done any other time on the season, any other year. So I don't know why that changes now. You're getting Talon Griekspoor around 1.7. I think that's respectable. I think that's showing a lot of respect to Valentin Vacherot. He's been flying, man. He's been flying. I've got to give it to him. But he's not even in the top 200. But admittingly, he probably will be at the end of the week. I imagine he definitely will be. Talon Griekspoor is top 30 in the world. It's been quite some time since we've seen him play good, since we've seen him hit a stride and get into form. 10 wins, 10 losses on the hard court as a total this season. That's very poor. That's very poor. It would have been a lot better than that as of up until late. Valentin Vacherot 14-9. It's kind of difficult to deny the form of Valentin Vacherot at the moment. Kind of still need to see more from Talon Griekspoor. He has played good. If we get the version of Talon Griekspoor that turns up against Yannick Sinner, I would have to assume he gets this one done against Valentin Vacherot. But, this guy's played a lot of tennis lately. He's played a lot of tennis, so maybe the court time will start to take a toll on Valentin Vacherot. I would like to think not. He'll be super inspired to get this one done. He should be nice and rested after the retirement from Thomas Mahach. And look, maybe it's not that wise. Maybe we've seen a few of these, haven't we? We had Terence Atman in Cincinnati. We have Valentin Royer the other week over in was it Hangzhou, somewhere like that, over in one of the Chinese tournaments. And now we've got Valentin Vacherot in the Shanghai Masters. Well done, boys. This is what we need. It's a breath of fresh air. We need some new players, don't we? We need some new talent. And I just wanted to give some credit to Valentin Vacherot, just like tip of the cap, because I didn't think he was going to be half as good as what he's been so far this week. So fair play, mate. If you can get past Talon Griekspoor this week, you may as well just go and win it. If you can get past Talon Griekspoor, Vacherot for the title, everyone, let's see how he gets on. I'd lean towards an over in this one. I would have to side ever so slightly with Talon Griekspoor edging this one out. However he decides to go about his business is entirely up to him. But I would lean with Griekspoor in this one. Very well, folks, that shall do us once again. Another day in the bag. Sorry I missed you the last couple of days. I was just a little bit busy. But I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go, and I'd appreciate that too. But very well. I'll be seeing you round. You take care of yourselves. You take care of one another. It's the most important thing. And you take it easy, yeah? Take it easy. Sound. Happy days. Right then. Let me know what you're going for. Anything I'm going to be going for is going to be in that pinned comment. Get yourself involved. I wish you the best of luck. However you decide to go about your business. Enjoy the matches today. And I'll see you all tomorrow.